Hope you guys went through the existing sessions, and I hope you have already signed up for AWS, and I hope you already created your first instance, and creating some security groups, trying to access either Windows or Linux. So today we are discussing about where we are left on previous sessions. So this is about AMI, Amazon Machine Image. So we have discussed about what is an Amazon Machine Image and what it contains, and how to choose an AMI while launching an AWS instance. So far we have discussed these two things related to the Amazon Machine Images. So now today we are going to discuss, we have seen the generic AMIs, the generic Amazon images, which already provided by the AWS. Now in today's class, we are going to create our own AMI, Amazon Machine Image, from the existing instance. So we'll try to make some things. Give me a moment, I'm just logging in. Okay, we have just start this. I'm just starting the instance. So we'll go here. Okay. Okay. So how to create an AMI, Amazon Machine Image, from an existing instance means the instance which we have already launched, which we already created and using it. So how to take this? Just so once you log into AWS Management Console, you go to the instances, you select the region wherever you want to take an instance AMI and where it actually resides. So go to the particular region, then go to the instances. So under instances, so in this account I only have a single instance, but where in production or testing or dev sites or in your organizations you might be having hundreds of instances, or maybe 50 plus odd instances, or maybe more than that. Even you might have more than that, who knows. So it's related to the application or organization, so how many servers or instances you have. So choose the instance which you want to take the AMI or the instance Amazon Machine Image. Then go to the actions. So if you want to change anything to the instance, so you have to select the instance, then you have to go through the action tab. So in the actions we have a couple of different types of changes, or what are the changes you want to change. So what are the modifications you want to change? You can change the security group as we discussed. So in these options we also have start, stop, or reboot or terminate the instance. The same way we have adding the tags. So we have some related to auto scaling, so we'll discuss what are those things. So in the same way we have image means, so taking an image means taking the whole actual state of an instance. So whatever the data is residing in it, and what are the files you have stored, and what are the applications you have installed. So all things in a one go, we are taking an image. So if you're taking that image means it's like you're creating a copy of everything that is installed and configured in the particular machine or the instance. So under the actions we have to go to the image and click on create image. So here you can mention, let's say we mention as a demo AMI, call it as. So demo AMI, add some description, and we can also check a checkbox here saying that no reboot. So what is actually no reboot means? So while taking an AMI, Amazon Machine Image, the instance whatever we are taking, it will reboot. Then once it has been rebooted, then it will start taking the copy or the image of the instance or the server. So why it needs to be reboot means, let's say you have an application or a production server which is already running in the instance, running in the AWS account. So if you take in a live production server or instance AMI, the data might be reading or writing. So if it is reading, that will be fine, but if it is writing, then it will be a problem. So it might make some inconsistencies or in the file system or the files. Let's say you have a database server which is, you hosted some database which is having some writing some data to the some table, where you have at the same time while writing you have created this AMI, you have put in a request to create an AMI. So what will happen, might be the data might be lost, or maybe the data whatever is writing will not be able to, or it will not be, maybe a partial data is coming to the disk at the server and the remaining will not be able to come to the disk. So it might create some inconsistencies to the image of the backup whatever we are taking. So we might get some issues if we put no reboot. So remember, whenever we are taking AMI, Amazon Machine Image, when you're taking an image backup, it should be rebooted. You should not click no reboot. Either it is very critical that you can't reboot, then you can have an option called saying no reboot. So Amazon give you a flexible kind of an options. So it's not like that every option you should need to do. So we'll choose what the options we need to use, and if we need at some point of time it's some kind of option, then we can use it. So otherwise we don't need to use all the options whatever is providing by the AWS or the Amazon Web Service. So be sure if you click on the same thing, so when enabled, it's giving in a pop-up box saying that Amazon Institute does not schedule the instance, means it should not reboot, stop before creating the image. When this option is used, the file system integrity and the created image cannot be guaranteed. So Amazon itself is saying that the file system means the files whatever is there on the system or the instance, the files, the data, whatever you have having in that instance or the server will get some integrity issues while creating an AMI. So if it is required only, it's mandatory, critical only, then you can check it. And again you have to take the option saying that okay, if something is goes wrong or the file system is not working or the data is not actual up to the exact time when you're taking this fine, then you can go. Normally you should not go with this no reboot option. So after that you can see here what are the root value we have. So we have only a 30 GB, so it's a Windows instance, so we have only a C drive which is having 30 GB, and we'll see what are those types of the, and you can see the volume is root and the device is dev sta1, that's fine. And then after that you can click on create image. So once you click on you create image, so a confirmation dialog box will open saying that create image request is received. So once we have choose the button create image, Amazon AWS will start creating the image of the server. So you can see here a link view pending image AMI, and this is the AMI ID which is created by the AWS for the image which you have requested to take the image. So if you click on this link, you can see here, if you click on this link, I will tell you guys. So what is the difference between AMI and snapshot? We are going to see in the next sessions. So just hold on, the hold for session, so you can understand snapshot in the image backup server. So if you click on, I will come to you with the 1 second. So if you click on view pending image, you can see a link is there. If you click on it, a page will open with the search of the AMI ID, which you can see the status is pending. So you can see the status is pending. So while it is creating, just we go to some questions here. 1 second, Uddhav, I am going to unmute you. Hi there, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Actually, I have one question regarding that. You have chosen that this instances, correct?
Okay. Yes.
Actually, in that there is the partition you we have given that dev slash sda1.
Okay.
Okay, but actually,
Okay.
I just want to know about it because actually we are creating the Windows instances. Then why
Okay.
this partition is dev slash sda1? Because as per my knowledge, it is actually Linux partition. Generally,
Yes.
we give.
Yes. Yes. A good question, though. Actually, it's not related to Windows or Linux here because it is maintained by the hypervisor, which is maintaining by the AWS. So hypervisor is naming that as a slash dev slash sg1, and the hypervisor is called Citrix, so it's based on Linux. The hypervisor means, so on the top of the hypervisor we are creating this Linux or Windows or any instances, so that is
Oh,
why it naming as that, like that.
okay, okay, okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you though.
Yeah, welcome.
So you can say still it is pending, will take some time. So it is actually takes the time based on your size of your volumes, the size of your hard disk which is attached to the instance. So if you have some 500 gigs or 1 TB hard disk, or the volumes you have, it might take more time. So if you have, let's say, only just 30 GB, 100 GB, 50 GB, something, that it might take within 5 to 10 minutes you can be able to create it. But if you have more, it might take some more time. So we'll go through the documentation. What do we have? So the same thing, you can say click on actions. So the image, create image. So on the next page, you can specify the image name and add some description. Then click on create image. So the same way you will be confirmed with the create image. So you can have that link and you can have that email ID as well. So once it is done, you can be able to see the status will be available. So we are going to see within a few minutes. Yes, you can see here the status available, means the AMA has been creating completed. So it has been created. So now, so we have created an image. So we'll use this AMI to launch any instances. If you want to launch, as we shown here, like it's a Windows instance. So what are the AMIs? Now we have taken an AMI from the same system or the same instance. So if you want to create same instance or same server, which we already have a Windows instance, instead of going to the choose AMI from the, yes, AMI. Dilshad is asking, AMI is region specific. Yes, it is. So what are the AMI you have created here in this region? It will not be available, but there is an option called you can copy, or you can copy the AMIs across the regions. So you can copy from any source region to any destination region. So that is available. We'll see how to do that. Now, now we have seen here created. So now we have created how to launch an instance from the created AMI. So from the AMI section itself, so I'm just removing this tab. So if you go to the AMIs tab under the image section on the same EC2 page, so you can see that what are the AMIs we have. So till now we are the only, the first one we have created, so we don't have much AMIs here. So if you select and then go to the actions, you can see, and then you can launch it from here, or you can launch from here. So if you click on launch, so this will be your AMI. So what is the data it contains in the particular AMI, means the how many hard disks you have. So in our instance we only have a C drive with 30 GB, but in production or in live you might have 3-4 volumes. It's specific to your requirement or your application or your company. So based on that. So when you either you can click on launch here, either you can click on launch here. So we can see an option called deregister. So deregister means itself is nothing but terminating or the deleting the AMI which we have created. So there is also other AMI, other option called copy AMI. If you click on copy AMI, we say select the destination region. So these are all the regions where you can copy this AMI to. So if you have any client or any request saying that I don't want the in the Singapore region, so what I do, I will take an AMI. Then let's say we want to host it in North Virginia. So then create some name, choose that North Virginia region, and then click on copy AMI so that it will be copied to and available in the same account in the North Virginia region. Or you can say, if you say Tokyo, then if you say copy AMI, then it will be available. So Anushree is asking, one second, I will see the question. Does AWS user after signed up has access to all regions? Yes, true. It has all the options to access them all the regions. Okay, Dilshad is asking, AMI stored in S3, but S3 is not a region specific. No, S3 is region specific. So the S3 is itself region specific. So the bucket, whatever you have in a particular region, will not be available in the other region. So S3 is a region specific. It's not region specific. It's region specific. We'll discuss while we are having a session on S3. We'll discuss and we'll see how actually it works and how we say that it's a region specific. We'll see. So now click on launch to create an image, or instead of going through this AMI tab and clicking this, so you normally go to the instance section and click on launch instance. You can. So here we have seen Quickstart, MIMIs, AWS Marketplace, Community MS, and as well as free team. So we have discussed all these options while choosing an AMI. So we have here my AMIs. So in the previous session, we didn't have any AMIs created in our account, so we didn't have anything. But if you click on my AMIs, you can be able to see that AMI which we have named it as demo AMI. So we can also select from here as well. So that if we select, then the next step is to like the configuration. So how much specifications you want, you know, to select. So as we are in under AWS free tier, so we're going to select this one. So configure instant. So it's all the same thing. So choosing an AMI is a different thing, but everything whatever you creating from AMI. Okay. So everything will be the same, nothing will be changed, nothing will be going to change. So everything, the process will be the same. So review and launch. Once you click on review and launch, you click on launch here, and again you need to select. So we are using Windows key for Windows instances. So I acknowledge that I have the key. So click on it. So if you come down to the page, you can be able to see the view instances tab. So if you choose that, you can able to see that the instance which you have creating from existing AMI is in pending state and is start creating. So this is how we actually create AMI and Amazon machine image, and as well as launching an AMI from launching an instance from, one second. No, it will not. Anushri is asking, after creating the image, so how will it be available to all other AWS users? So it will not be available. It will not be available to the all AWS users. That's again a security thing. It will not be available. It will only available to you. The account donor, whoever you have created, will be available to you. So where we can have some options where you can share with other accounts or we can also make it public as well. But normally when you create an image, it will be private to your account, to your account itself. It will not be available to the other people. Instant created from AMI itself. You are choosing an AMI in your account because you have the option uh, to have that access to the AMI. So once you have created means you have the access to AMI. So from that AMI you have created an instance. The same way, if you haven't given anyone to any access kind of thing, where you haven't shared any PAM file, or where you haven't given any username and password, they will not be able to access. The same way, it will be the same thing. If you haven't given any access privileges to anyone else, they will not be able to access. So if you haven't given, then they will be able to access. That's how it is. And Varun is asking, AMI instances, memory and users are also considered when AWS billing is done for instance, right? AMI instances. I didn't understand, Varun. AMI instances means what? AMI means the AMI which we have created. Does it cost? That's what you're telling. Oh, sorry. That is what you're asking. Is that the question then? See, AMI is a backup. When you take an AMI means when you are taking a backup of it, it will not use any processors or RAM. It will only stored in some location in S3. It's a simple storage service provided by AWS, where by default AWS stores all the AMIs, Amazon Machine Images. So it will only cost for storage, not for any processor or any hardware specifications. It will not be. So we'll see some pictorial representation. So we have seen, let's say this is our instance. So we have taken a backup. So this is called, let's say, AMI. So it will be stored in S3, simple storage service. So we'll see what is this. And it is, as we said, it's a region specific. So you will have S3 in other region as well. So you'll have some AMIs, all the data in here as well. So but this will not be available to this region. Or the same way, this AMI will not be available to this region. No, it's not free. It's not free, Swadesh. Swadesh is asking, is that free? No. AMI creation and all these things for free, but you're using the storage, so it will be the cost for the storage, how much storage you are using. So how much the image size it should be. So based on that, you will be charged. So here, so we have taken a AMI means it's a whole backup of, like, let's say you have a server in that. So what might you have? You have installed some packages or some services. If you take in Windows, you might be having some Active Directory or some IaaS services or some .NET applications, something you have installed it. So if you take it some Linux, you can say Apache service or maybe MySQL service or anything, or maybe a DNS service, any service like this, or some applications which you have used. Or if you take some data, you might be having some videos or some photos, if it is personal to you. Or if it is an organization, then you will have some data regarding to the users or maybe the customers. So you might be having all the data. So based on it, and as well as your database, let's say database. So if it is MySQL, you will have database, or if it is Windows, then you will have MS SQL. So like this. So you'll have all the data in your instance. So it's Dilshad is asking, so what process it follows? It's solely dependent to the AWS. They will not say that this is the process we are following. So they will not made public to the process what they are following. They will not tell it. So the process is like when you click on request for AMI. So what are the data? It is resides in your instance. They'll take an image backup, means they've taken a hard copy of it, then they'll store it in S3. So that's what they're doing. So they might be following any kind of a process, but they will not made it public that we are the following this process kind of a thing. So they will not do that. Like we are in Windows, you might, if you want to take in a backup or a folder or some file, right, you'll say Control C and Control V or something like that. The same way they follow it, but in a different manner, like this. So what are the data? So the combinedly you having and take an image where you will have all the data residing in this particular image. So when you click on launch, then your server or the instance will be launched with the same data whatever you have when you have created this EM. So this is how you take an image and we no, it will not be. So Varun is asking when I terminate the instance, so what happens to the AMIs or the Amazon machine images once we have delete the actual the main instance which we have taken some AMIs. Let's say in this example we have used this Windows instance, the first Windows instance, and we have taken AMI. So if we terminate this instance, also this instance will only terminate. The backups or the AMIs, whatever we have created, will stays in the account. It will not be deleted. It will not be terminated. So we can see that now it has been created, and also you can see it has some IP as well. So we'll try to log in. So go to the same actions, get Windows password. Oh, it says password is not available yet because it's just launched. So it will take some 5 to 10 minutes to create the password, default password, so default administrative password. So once it is created, we can be able to access the instance which we created from the AMI. So this is how we can create AMI. So you can see all this process here, how actually creating the instance and all. So how to actually terminate and delete the AMI, so which we already discussed here. If you just go to the AMI section, so select your AMI. So we are already having one, so we are by default it is selecting. Otherwise you can select the AMI whatever you want to terminate. Go to the actions, so click on deregister. Deregister means you're unregistering. Deregistering this from account means it will be deleted from your account. Means it's not like it will be available somewhere. It is deleting means it's something like shift delete. So it will delete it from the storage S3. So it will be deleted from. So once you click deregister, it's done. It is terminated. You can't have any option to restore it back because Amazon will not have any backup stored for you. So you have to take care of the backups and AMIs. So before deleting anything, before terminating anything, you have to make sure that you have the proper backups, or whatever you're deleting, it's a data which you're not needed. It's like this. So if once you've terminated, you will not be able to restore it back. So be sure what are the AMI which you are deleting, and as well as if you think that it's not needed, then you can deregister means basically you're terminating. So we'll try to see is it able to come the password. Yes. Welcome with the. So we can browse the key. We have seen that we have used Windows key, Win key. So we can try to decrypt, and we see we have some default password. So we'll try to copy, and we'll try to open this instance on STSC. The IP is 52.221.255.322. It seems to be a fancy IP. See, the username is default username is administrator for Windows instance. The password which we have got from the get Windows password, and you can see we are able to launch. And the instance size we can see from the desktop itself 32 micro, and architecture is M64, and the private IP address and the public IP address. We'll discuss what are these things, and the host name, and in which availability zone means in which data center it has. So we don't have any data at this point of time, so we can't verify is the data available or not. but you can see that it has a 30 GB of a C drive, which we already have in existing in the Windows instance. So we have seen how actually we have created. So now we are going to shut down this. So we don't need anything. So I'm shutting it down. So to stopping the instances, we can stop the instance from the instance console. Like Linux we have SSH, or Windows we have RDP. You can do that from there also, or you can select that image, select the instance, then go to the instance tab, and here also you can stop or reboot as well. But you can't terminate from the machine. You can see it's stopping. Means if you want to terminate the instance, you have to log into the Amazon AWS console, management console, and then select that instance and go to the actions. Under the instance, you have to click on terminate. Sure, do 1 second. I'm unmuting you. He's having some question. Hi, though.
Yeah, hi. Actually, see, in this instance, creating an instance, see, we have given the specific hardware, correct?
Yes, true.
Yeah, okay. And suppose if I'm a client, okay, I
Mm-hmm.
want some specific hardware. So if I give you the order that I need some this type of means 4 GB RAM or
No, no,
8 GB RAM,
no,
8
no,
GB
no.
RAM and
It will not
uh,
be available. Uddhav. Yeah. So they will have some instance types we already discussed, right? So it has some
no.
like.
Actually, we have the facility now. We can choose that processor and all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have created one instance, okay.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If it is a Windows one, okay, consider it is a Windows one. Then,
Okay.
as a client, how can I access the system? That I want to know. How can I access the administrator using an administrator? Because you are creating, because everything you are creating, okay. But
Okay.
how, as a client, how can I access that system?
Means logging. You're talking about the
Yeah. I'm talking about the logging.
logging to the AWS or logging to the instance of the server you're talking about.
See, you are ultimately you are creating this instance for the client, correct?
Yes, true.
Yeah. So if I'm a client and I have 100 users, so
Okay.
how we are able to log into this system or this server?
Okay. See, whenever you have created Uddhav, so
Mm-hmm.
when you signed up, so you are the root when you have created your account. So what are the email ID you have specified? You are the root account. But there is a concept called IAM, Identity Access Management, where we can create the users and give the some permissions so that this user has access to this machine or only this service kind of a thing we can have. In the next session we'll discuss what is that AMI, Identity and Access Management, where you can see how to create the users and how to give the permissions to it.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome, Uddhav. Thanks for confirmation. Sure, Dilshad, 1 second, I'm unmuting you. Yes, Dilshad, go ahead.
Okay, sir, my
Dilshad,
question is related to this. Yeah, can you hear me?
pardon? I'm
Hello.
able to hear you, Dilshad. Just unmuting. Yeah, I'm able to hear you, Dilshad.
Okay. My question is related to AMI. I
Okay.
have created a AMI in uh, M large large instances, right? And now I
Okay.
want a cost cutting. I want to launching general in general or in other type of instances. Will that be possible?
Yes, will that. So while creating the instance, right, we can have option to choose the whatever the type we need. So how much RAM you need, how much. processor unit. So while at that point you can either select the same as you have created the instance. So what are the instance from you have created? Either you can choose the existing one, or you can choose the anyone which is already having or provided to you. So you can do that.
That means like it has to be more than what AMI is having. Like if AMI hard drive is 30 GB, we should choose new instances. Hard drive should be equal or should be more than that, right?
It should it should it should not, like, it's not like that. It's the minimum is 30 GB. You can't create a AMI. You can't create an instance from the AMI of 30 GB. You can't create an instance with 25 GB like this. You can't decrease it, but you can increase it. You have an option to
Okay, it should be
increase.
equal or should be more than that.
Yeah, it should be equal or it should be more than that, but not the less than. It's like this.
Okay,
Understood?
and what is the architect AMD 64?
It's a 64-bit architecture. We have two types of architectures in a normal, even say if you say laptops or as well as we have seen. So there are two types of 32-bit as well as 64-bit. So 32-bit is actually a pretty old thing. So I don't think even whatever we are getting, the laptops are also, it's not even 32-bit. But previously, in 5 years ago, something like that,
It's
everybody is
related.
using 32-bit. So it's related to architecture, not
Is it
related to
related to
AWS.
architect processor?
It's not. Yes, whoever is actually creating these machines, laptops or the hardwares, motherboards and all. So it's an low level kind of a thing. It's not to AWS and all.
Okay. My confusion is
Okay.
related because every processor that we use in a Amazon is from Intel. So how come we can see AMD 64? It should be Intel something like that, right?
No, no. See, Intel is a processor they are using, and MD64 it's a
Mm-hmm.
hardware model. It's not the processor model. It's a hardware model. That's what. You don't confuse with AMD. It's not the AMD processor actually. It's not that. It's an Intel processor itself. AWS is used Intel itself. So it's not the AMD processor. The architecture is AMD. Okay.
Okay. Uh,
It's not related to the processor. It's
okay.
related to the hardware.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Like these are the virtual. There is no hardware, right?
No, in the hardware itself, you are create on the top of the hardware. You'll have hypervisor. So on the top of hypervisor, we are creating the virtual machines, right? So without having
Okay.
hardware, how can you create a virtual
What
machine?
I have okay. What I have understanding like there is hardware that is from
Okay.
Intel. On top of that, we have a hypervisor that is Zen. On Zen, we
Yes.
are creating this instances, uh,
Yes.
and that instance is being converted to AMI. So I
Yes.
don't see
Yes.
any role of AMD.
So AMD, it's not specific to AMI. You're confusing with instance and AMI. So instance is architecture. Either we can choose 32-bit or 64-bit, because we have to select either 32-bit architecture or 64-bit architecture. AMI, it's a backup. It's not related to 64 32-bit. It's you're just taking in a backup of an image, backup of your data and putting in somewhere else. So don't confuse. AMI is not related to 32 or 64-bit. It's not like that. Instance is related to it, not the AMI.
Okay. If we change like change of instances type bring any changes in installed application and data?
No, nothing. Zero. There's no changes.
Okay. If I change if I play around with type of instances, there will not be any data loss or application issues.
Yes, yes, true, true. But you need to stop
Okay.
and start. That's, that's what you need to do.
Okay. Then instance you're talking about when you are creating an
Yes,
AMI.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. What are things converted when we are triggering AMI?
So as I told you, right? So the first thing is data consistency, data integrity. So because while taking an AMI, it should reboot. So if it is reboot only, then while after the reboot, it will take the image, whatever. So it will take the data applications, whatever we have. It will take the exact copy, exact image of it, and then create an AMI. So if you say no reboot, right? As it, AWS itself is saying that it might create some file system integrity issues. So that's the only thing we need to make in our mind. So that's the only point we need to remember. So if you think it's very critical, then you can go with no reboot option. But if it is not critical,
MI is
you might need.
MI is
Yes, go ahead.
just like a template, right?
Yeah, it's like a template. Yes, true.
Okay, if you like, it should be a standard procedure across the industry. Like
Yes, yes,
whenever you're taking any template, then
yes, yes,
you take a snapshot of your hard drive, you take a snapshot of your RAM, you take a snapshot of your network I/O or your hardware configuration. So, what are
yes,
things
yes.
involved in this AMI?
It's just in a backup, right, Dilshad? It's not any options. You don't have any options available for you. So just create an image, request to create an image. AWS will do the create image, means a backup of your instance, your data, whatever is residing in it. There is no options available to you. So just if you want a backup or if you want to create any instances as like the same of your existing instance, you can use this option. You don't have any other options.
I understand, sir. My concern is to know what things runs in the background when you trigger AMI. Okay, what are things being done first, and what are the steps taken as a second option? So, what
That
runs
will
first
not
and what
be
runs second?
that's what I understood, Dilshad, but AWS will not made public that what is the process they are following. They will not give you. If you request also, they will say it's a
Okay,
solely terms and conditions for them, so they will not give it to. They will not make it to public. That's how it is.
okay,
Okay then. Thank you,
okay. If
Dilshad.
I, uh, sir, I have more questions.
Okay. Can we
Can I
have
ask?
on the end of the session? So what I mean, what are the questions,
Sure, sure.
queries you
No
have?
problem.
Make a note it so
Mhm.
that we can discuss on the end of the session. So I mean, right? I think you can understand.
Yeah, that that's
Okay
fine.
then. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. So what are the questions you are having? So first we'll continue with the class, then we can discuss with the other questions. So and also whatever the questions you might raising or you might be having, so the questions will be answered or the questions what are the options or the queries you are asking in the coming section, which will be resolved because the options whatever you are looking out is in the next session. Don't try to look everything on a single go. You will get to know all the things one by one. So we'll see after the end of the class we can see all the remaining questions. Okay, we can see we have created and we have stopped the instance from the instance. You can see that it has been stopped. So that is how we can create the EMI and stop the EMI, and also we can delete the EMI. You're welcome, Dilsha. So this is all about the EMIs, Amazon Machine Images. So we'll try to go to the next session called IP addressing. So we'll see, we're going to see, so if you go to the instance, you can see here, if you click on the instance and see the details, you can see it says public IP and the IP is here. And you can see here private IP is there and IP is here. So what is this public and what is this private? So some of you guys might have known so what is public and what is private, but if you're new to this networking strategy and you might not be able to understand what is private and what is public, and so what are those numbers and all. So we'll discuss so all these things by one now. So what it is, IP addressing scheme and all. So first we'll go with this. So here, so first we'll start with the protocol. So I think it's a basic thing, so we might finish, we'll not discuss much about it just for the understanding. So whoever not known, new to the networking concept, so That's why I'm actually giving this topic. So otherwise I should not have. But whoever who doesn't have much knowledge about networking, IP addressing, and all, so we'll discuss all these things. So we'll discuss in a short terms and short explanations. We'll try to do it. So see, so we'll see what is protocol. A protocol is, all we know, that a set of rules to have the proper communication. So proper communication means a communication between the devices. So devices means, so you have one system, any computing device. So you might one system here, one system here, and one system here. So a protocol is a set of rules to have the proper communication between the devices. So if this, let's say this is an A device, this is a B device, and this is a C device. So it wants to communicate with this, or it wants to communicate this, or the same way it this and this. So how actually it communicates, how actually it talk. So like if you are a person from India, you might be having, you might be knowing Hindi or English. So if a person from China, he will having some knowledge in Chinese or English, something like this. So if you both want to communicate, you need to use a single language where this guy can understand this, and the same way this guy can understand his. So how, if an Indian guy talking in Hindi to a Chinese guy, he will not be able to understand. Then a communication gap. The same way a Chinese guy is talking to an Indian in a Chinese, he will not be able to understand unless and until you know Chinese. So what you need to do, there is a common language called English. So they can both can talk to each other in English so that each can understand what the other person is telling. The same way, the protocol is a set of rules. It's like a language to communicate between the computing devices. It might be laptops, servers, switches, hubs, routers, firewalls, anything. We need to take any computing device for sure. So we have different types of protocols were there. So it's not now, it's like, let's say we are seeing the TCP IP, we can see that IPX, SPX, and we see Apple TAC, and we see NetBIOS, okay, and yes, OSI. So these are all the different, we see protocol is a set of rules and to have the proper communication between the two or more devices. The same way, this TCP/IP is a protocol, IPX, SPX is a protocol, Apple Talk, NetBIOS. So these are all the protocols which are available. So IPX PX is available by which is developed by DoD, Department of Defense, wherein IPX is developed by Novel. So Apple Talk is developed by Apple, and NetBIOS is developed by Microsoft, and OS is developed by ISO. So why they have developed means, so Apple has developed this Apple Talk to have their devices talk to each other. The same way Microsoft has designed, developed a protocol to have their Microsoft instances talk to each other. So everybody, like Department of Defense, they have developed this IP, TCP/IP. We can see here TCP/IP has been developed by Department of Defense, and Novel has been created a protocol called IPX SPX. So two and Novel devices, let's say this is a Novel device 1 and a Novel device 2. So if they want to talk with each other, so they will so everybody has been created a protocol. So what the question is, the same example we have seen. So a Chinese guy and a Windows guy, sorry, a Indian guy. The same way, a Mac user or an Apple user, and same with a Microsoft device. So we have seen Apple is using a protocol called Apple Talk, and Microsoft is using a protocol called NetBIOS. So they are using a different language, we say, in terms of it. In So we are using a different protocol. They can't directly communicate with it because Microsoft will not understand Apple Talk, means a Chinese language. The same way, Apple devices will not understand NetBIOS, so they will not be able to communicate. So at some point of time, and the professionals or the networking scientists came to a situation, came to a conclusion that if we have different kind of a protocols for different companies and different organizations, so we cannot be able to go through the internet or run this machine. So devices cannot communicate with each and everybody or each and every other. So what you need to do, so you need a proper language like English, where if you know English, you can go to anywhere in the world, you can stay. The same way, you need some kind of a language, or means in our terms it's a protocol to supported by, excuse me, supported by every device. So that's where, so all the scientists or the networking professionals, they have came to a conclusion. So instead of having all this, so they want to make a one protocol as a standard protocol to communicate between any organizations, any devices. So they have decided TCP/IP as a standard protocol to have the proper communication. So whatever the devices you have, it might be a mobile phone, it might be a laptop, it might be a server, everything will understand this TCP/IP protocol, because this is the standard protocol which has been conclusion by the networking professionals long back itself, not now. So what is TCP/IP? We say TCP/IP is a standard protocol used between computers and networking devices for communication, means to talk with each and every other device. So in the TCP/IP, we have different type of addressing. So we have IPv4 and as IPv6. So you might have known. So what is actually IP? What is actually IP address? Means it's a logic address. It's a logic address and it's unique. You say it's a unique. So if a machine has some IP, let's say think like 192.168, let's say 1.10, I'm giving an example, and this another instance or another machine should not have the same IP. It should have some different IP. It might be 1.11 or 1.9, like this. So it's a logical address, it's not a physical one, it's a logical one, and it's a unique address assigned to the each and every device in the network or the internet. So in the, now we are saying we are around 20 people, we are using laptops or desktops, so we'll having some different kind of different IPs in for different missions. So but in the world, everybody is, most of the guys are connected to the internet using either using tablet, either using phone, either using desktop or laptop. So everybody is using, they're having some IP. It's a logical IP, it's unique to everybody. So you will not have IP which the same IP will not be have access to or will not have been used by the other. So we'll see what is this IPv4 addresses. So why we have two also we'll discuss in a short section. So before we'll take it, so in, we all know that the computers will understand only zeros and ones, so they will not be able to understand apart from zero from ones anything. So zeros and ones they will be as a IPv4 itself is a 32-bit addressing. So what is 32-bit means? So you will have either zeros or ones in 32. So total you will have 0 0 0 1 1 0 something like this, 0 1 1 0 0 1 something. Total you will have 32 zeros. Total as a combination it has 32 bits. So means 32 zeros. Might be 16 zeros or 16 ones or 9 zeros. Remaining it's like total is 32 bit. So that's why it called as IPv4. It has a 32 bit, means total zeros or ones is the combination, the count is 32 bit. So that's why it's called IPv4 as a 32 bit. So you can see like, and if you can see 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 8 and 0 0 0, same like I'm just giving 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 and 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. You can see all zeros and ones as a combination. You can see here like, so here we have 8 bits and here we have 8 bits and here we have 8 bits and here we have 8. So the total is a 32 bit. It's a zeros combination of zeros and ones. So we have segregated 8 bit 8 bits 8 bits for it. So this segregating is called octet. This is the first octet, means the first 8 bits, and second octet means the second 8 bits, and third octet means the third, and fourth as well with the same thing with the fourth octet. So from the 32 bits we have segregated 444, that's called the 8 bits. So 8 zeros are zeros are ones, or might be a combination of zeros or ones. So you can see here, so it's 8 bits like this, here 8, here 8, and here 8, and here 8. So we'll see 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, and the next we'll see 0 0 0 8 bits. So we are taking this an example of 0. So we'll see, all know the decimal to binary and binary to decimal conversion. So you can see that start with 2.0, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5 and 2.6 and 2.7. So the first will be like this. So it will be multiplied with 2.0 is 1. 1 into 1 you will be having 1. 2 into 1 it's a 2. So you'll have 4 into 1 4. Like this, all ones means you will get all. So 1 2 4, you will have 8, you will have 16, you have 32, you will have 64, and you have 128. So how 128 is coming means, so 2 power 7 is 128 and multiplication with a 1. So the same way you can see here, the same way 2 0 2 1 2 2 2 3 2 4, like the 2 5 2 6 2 7. So 2 0 into 0, so 1 into 0 you will get 0. 2 power of 1 means 2. 2 into 0, so anything is multiplying with 0, you will get all the zeros like this. So we'll try to combine all these things, all these values which we are getting from multiplying with the zeros or ones. So you'll see 0 0 means all zeros. We reckon if you combine 1 2 4 8 16 32 64 and 108, you will get 255. So you can see from here, example is the maximum value you can get is 255. So if you use all the ones, means everything is there, you get the maximum value is 255. If the minimum value is 0, so the maximum value is 0 in the first octet, 0 in the second octet, 0 in the third octet, and if you say the maximum value 255 at 255 at 255 at 255. So the first octet, second octet, third octet, and fourth octet, you can say if you take to segregate the same way, it like this. So this is the maximum, this is the minimum value, and this is the maximum value. So whatever the IP address you have, it might be between from the zeros to 255. So this is called as a scope of IPv4 address. So this is the minimum value and this is the maximum value you can get. Means what are the IP addresses we have in the world which is have existing, which every user is using at the laptop or everyday device. It's between this interval from 0000 to 255. So it's like this because it's computer is understand any device it understand zeros and ones. So we see IPv4 is 32-bit. So they have designed in 32-bit where every bit is either represented by zeros or ones or combination of 0 ones. It's like you can see first, second, third, and fourth octet. And if you try to converting this, we'll see an example saying that you can see we are seeing 1111 all ones in 8 bits and all zeros in the next bit. So you can see if you try to, I have given example, if you try to say into this multiplication, right, 2 power 0 into 1 and 2 power 1 into 0, like 2.2 into 1, something, you will get 85. The same way if you try to do this multiplication with this all, then if you combine them, then you will get 133. So that like this, if you so the same thing, you will get 191. If you do this also, you will get the 3. So this is how actually IPv4 address is formed or IPv4 address is created. So we see the same example 201 202. If it says all zeros, then you will get 0. If it says all ones, you will get 255. This is called the range of IP address as scope. So range and the scope is both the same, so don't try to confuse between them, it's the same thing. So if you say IP, so we have seen now we have seen that the starting IP address is 0 and the 0 and the maximum value is 255 255. So in this one we say we have the actual IPs available in IP address v4. So in the IP address v4 IPv4, so we have some classes, means some types called class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. So you can see here, okay, we'll try to see. So from 0.0.0.0 to 127.255.255.255. So you can see that this is the class which is available in A class, so which they have defined as from 0000 to 127.255.255 is a class A. So that's what they have created. They have made this as a group, as a type. And if the same way from 128 0.0.0 to it is 191.255.255. If you say same thing 192 from 0.0.0 to 229, so no, it's 229, it's 223, sorry, 223.255.255. The same way from 224.0.0.0 to 239.255.255.255. You can see the same ranges here as well. You can see from 240.0.0.2 last IP the 255. 255 and 255. So these are all the different types of classes we have: class A, class B, class C, class D, and class E. So, and we can see that class A, B, C is used in LAN and WAN. So means in our local internet, means within an organization at home, or in the WAN means wide area network. LAN means local area network, means in our on premises or in our building or office organizations. Wherein WAN is whole of the world, you can say the whole world. So that's what, where either you can use A class, B class, or C class, but we'll use the first three class in LAN or WAN. So whatever the device you are using till now, it have an IPv4 address from either from A or from B or from C. So wherein class D and class E are reserved, so where a normal people means like us, we can't able to use that IPs. Where a class D reserved for multicasting, we'll see what is this multicasting means. And we also see class E. So class E is also, it's reserved for R&D, means research and development, and for future use. So like this we have. So these are all the different kinds of types of classes available in IP address v4. We see here that class D is reserved for multicasting. So what is means multicasting? So we have three different types of communication. So in that one we have this multicasting. So we have unicasting. So it says unicast, and you say broadcast. So these are the three types of communications we have. So in which how actually they are using some which method a device will use to communicate with other. So I don't expect any questions from you guys, because on this section it is not really related to you. So I just want to, I'm thinking that you might not have some networking knowledge. You might need some networking knowledge to understand AWS. So that's why I'm telling you all these things. So if you have any more questions on this addressing scheme or anything, you just go through some documentation like wiki or somewhere. You can find all the things. So I'm not expecting much. So you can, by seeing these slides, you can understand. If you still need some more explanation, so as I told you, it's an AWS section, not a networking kind of a session. So you can go through on your own interest. If you want to know all these things, you can go through on your own interest. You can say unicast means you can see here itself one to one, one to all, and one to many. So we'll try to see what is actually one to one. One to one means, so a device is talking to another device. It's a one to one. So a person is only discussing with me. So that's called unicasting. So it's just from one system is coming to or talking to other system. It's called one to one. So broadcast means here one system will talk to each and everybody in the LAN. Let's say you are an organization, your system or your laptop is talking to everybody. Each and everybody is in the office or your on-premise or your LAN. That's called broadcasting. So wherein unicast is only one to one, wherein broadcast is one to all. So whoever is actually existed in your local LAN or WAN. So we are discussing like here. So one to all. So whoever actually resides in your network. That's called broadcasting. And you can see multicast is one to many. So what is this one to many means? So you might having let's say 4 devices. So you can create it. One to many means you want to talk to with here and you want to talk to with here, but not with this guy and not with this guy. So it's like this. So in this example we can see it's one to one. So one person to one person, like the same way one machine to the another machine in the unicast. And if you go with the broadcast, it says one to all means what are the devices you are available here. And if you say multicast means one device is talking to the not the all people, only like a few members of your local LAN or your machine. It's like this multicast. So that's the same way you can use it. So now we can see that we have seen that types of communication. And in previous example we see we have IPv4 and IPv6 we have seen. So till now we are discussing about the IPv4. Now why we have IPv6, we'll try to discuss. So we said the starting IPs in IPv4 is 0.0 and max IP is 255, 255, 255. 255 like this. So how much it is? Starting is, we have a starting point as well as ending point. It's not like infinity where you have n number of IPs. So it's around 4.6 billion. I'm not sure exactly how much IPs you can available. It's around 4 billion of IP addresses available in this IPv4. But think of how many devices we have, how many mobile phones we are using, how many laptops we are using, how many servers we are using, how many firewalls we are using, how many switches we are using. As we discussed, every computer device, every computing device should have an IP address. But do you think we only have 4.6 billion devices? No, we have more than maybe 100x, maybe 10x, or maybe 1000x even. But how we are still using this IPv4? We'll see how actually we are using it, and we see that so there is a limit from the starting point. We have seen 4.6 billion, so we have a limit. So after some time, the network professionals or the network guys so decided that IPv4 is not able to help you from the longer period because it has some limitations where it can only support 4.6 billion. So if you everybody start using your computing device like phone, tablet, laptop, server, anything, so you'll not be able to give IP address to each and every one. So what they have think is, instead of solely depending on IPv4, they have created another IP IP address scheme called IP version v6. So it's a v6, so version 6. So it's a, as IPv4 is a 32-bit, it's a 128-bit. So it's in decimal format. We see that in 32 bits in decimal format, it's in hexadecimal format. So it's in hexadecimal. If you're new to this hexadecimal binary and all, so you don't need to understand all these things, just the differences I'm telling. If you understand, it's fine. If you're not able to understand, if you want to know more, just Google it after the session. You can understand what is this hexadecimal and decimal. But I'm just telling for just understanding. Don't try to go with this binary conversions and all. You don't need it actually anywhere. I'm just explaining why actually we came to IPv6. So we say 128-bit. So do you think everybody in the world will have some kind of a device, either phone or tablet or a laptop? Think of it. So if you want to give each and IP address to everybody in the world who has actually existing, I mean who is actually living, wherein if you use 32-bit, you can't use that because it has a limitation of 4.6 billion, because we already crossed the population at 100 years itself, 100 years ago itself. So we don't have a 4.6 billion. So we have around some 1000 crores, something like that we have. So we can't give or allocate IP address from the IPv4. So wherein if you use 128, you can do that, means you can give you can use in every individual who is living in this world from wherever the country they are. So you can still give an IP address. So after giving the IP address to each and everyone also, you will have some ample amount of IP addresses which exist in IPv6. So this is how and why actually IPv6 got designed and developed. Because of IPv4, we are only having a limited amount of IP addresses available in IPv4. That's why we came to IPv6. So while developing this IPv6, they have also developed a concept called NAT, network address translation. So this is a concept called, while developing IPv6 also, they have came up with a solution called NAT. So still we see what is your IP address, say we say 32.192.168.1.10 or something like that. We say the 32-bit IP address means the IPv4 address. We say we have only 4.6 billion IP addresses. We say only we have 4.6 billion IP addresses, but still we are using the IPv4. Why? It's because of NAT. So if we have not have this NAT implemented, then we might have closed around 15 or 20 years back itself, or maybe 10 years ago. We might have all used all the IP addresses v4 addressing, and we are already in the IPv6 if we didn't have this NAT. But so using this NAT, we are still sustaining with IPv4, and as per my knowledge, as per the internet, we have around 12% of IPs are still available in IPv4 because of this NAT. So we'll see what is NAT and all. So after a quick break, so after a break of 15 minutes, so it's 9:12 it seems, so we'll try to come at 9:25. So all in which services supports IPv6. It's not like AWS service, Arvind. Whatever the devices today we have, if you take mobile device, if you take tab, if you take laptop, if you take server, everything will support IPv6 and IPv4. So both versions, every device in the world supports both. So if you want to use IPv4, you can use it. If you want to use IPv6, you can use. It's not like this is supported by these devices. It's not like this. So it is supported by all the devices which exist in the world till now. So this is how. So we'll go for a quick break, guys. So once we are done, then we'll continue the session. So what terms of restrictions you are asking, Arvind? I didn't understand actually. TCP/IP is not. I will unmute you 1 second, Arvind. Hello.
Yes, Satish.
Yes,
Satish,
Arvind.
I was going through white papers of this AWS, and there's mentioned kind of still, AWS not fully supporting IPv6. It's only supporting IPv4. In terms of Route 53 is the only the service that fully supported for IPv6. So what that mean?
No, no, no. See, it's not like this. If you if you open any in the next session we'll see. So IPv6, it's not support means you can't use the IP addresses, or you can see here in an instance you have an IP address. You can see public IP, you can see private IP here. These are all the IPv4 addresses, but not the IPv6 address. So it's not like they are not supporting, but they are giving the IP addresses of the IPv4 itself. So if you want an IPv4 or sorry IPv6 address for these instances, you cannot have, because they are not given any IPv6 addresses to the instances till now. So it's not like they will not do it, but at some point of which we discussed, right? If we used all the IPv4 addresses, then we came to a situation we have to use IPv6. Then they will be make it available. So it's not. It is actually restriction at AWS, but not at the servers or desktops, as we discussed it, the computing device. So they are using some kind of service or some kind of protocol or some kind of processes. So what they are using, so they put some restrictions. They might be put some restrictions. It solely dependent on them. So, but we can't argue with them like I need IPv6. Then you can't go to AWS and say I need an IPv6 address. It's not. So they're not providing means you will not do it. It's not about the, so AWS, it's a process followed by them. So they will say what the services they provide. So it's like
Yeah,
this.
that's
They
why
say,
I'm asking only about the AWS support, not like
yeah,
this
that's
one.
what. So it's like there. If you say if you see the instance, right, we have only IPv4 address here. So it's not like they will not support. It's not like that, but they can support, but they will not giving in the for the instance. So in the next session we'll try to create some Linux instance, and we'll see the IPv6 address and all also. But the IPv6 interface will be there, means the system supports the IPv6, but AWS is not giving the IPv6 address. So it's like this, they are not giving the IP address. That's how it is.
Okay, thank you.
Okay then, thanks guys. 9:15 or 9:16 now. So have a break, we'll meet at 9:30. Thank you.
क्या इंग्लिश बोलता रहता है तू?
Hope you guys completed your break as well. Yes, already completed. We'll start the session from where we are left. So we'll see. So the public end, we'll see some public and private IP address. So what is private and what is public? So we have seen that we have in IPv4 we have A class and B class and C class. Because from 0 to 127 we see, and in B class we see 128 to 191, and in C class we see 192 to 223. So we have seen this is the range, means 0.0.0.0 from to 127.255.255. So these are all the actual IP range for A class address and B class address and C class address. So these are all the total range of A class, B class and C class. So there is the 10.0.0. network from 10.0.0 to 10.255.10.255.10.255, wherein here 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.255.255, and here you see 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.255.255. So what does this means? In this range from 0 to 127, between 0.0.0 to 127 to 127.255, they have made this 10.0.0 to 10.255 called a private IP range. The same way in B class they are saying private IP address, and the same way in the C class. So means if you see any address starts with 10, it's a private IP address in A class. If you see in C class 172.16 from 0.0 to 225, it says private in B class, and same way 192.168.0.0 in 192.168.255 is again it's a C class private IP address. So only these from 10 is in private IP address in A class, and remaining apart from 10, so from every remaining IP addresses are called public IPs. The same way here, apart from this free range, apart from all public IP addresses, the same way it applies to the C. So these are all the private IP address range, and apart from this, all remaining are the public IP address. So what is actually public IP and private IP? We'll see. So public IP is used on public network, means in the internet. That's what called the public IP, and private IP used in the LAN or within the organization. So mean the local LAN or within organization or within your building or within your office or within your home. It's called the private IP. We have seen the private IP address is range. This is how we use this private IP range, and recognized on internet. So public IP is, so we see here we have go to the instances and we see the public IP is 52.221.255.121. So we can see that it's in starts with 52, so it might be from the A class because it's from 0 to 127. It's between from 0 to 127, we can see it, and it's an A class, and it says it's not an in A class. 10 is a private IP address. Apart from 10, remaining are public, and you can see that this is a public IP address because it's not starting with 10 in A class. So if you are trying to connect, you can say MSTSC with the same way 52.221.255. 221.255.121. You're trying to connect, and you are able to accessing this over the internet, means so you can see it the instances which I created in the Singapore region, means the server is at the Singapore, in Singapore country, and I'm accessing from here. So where I'm not in Singapore, but I'm able to access the server which is residing in Singapore. So using this IP address, and it's a public IP address. We can say that it's a public IP address. You can see. 1 second, guys. Okay. Means you can access from anywhere in the world. That's called over the internet. You can access this public IP address. Wherein private IP address you cannot do that. It's not recognized on internet, but it's recognized in the within LAN, means within your organization or within your home or within your setup network or within your institute, something like this. So it's given by the service provider from IANA. So if you want a public API will provide from by this service provider. Where private IP, you don't need to ask anyone like the service provider. You just check with your administrator, network administrator, who can provide it. It's globally unique. Public IP means public IP will not be the same as we discussed, and unique within the network or organization. Wherein private IP means, so we'll think like this. So you will try to see an example. Let's say think of an example of a Google, a company, and same with us, Amazon is a company. So let's say they are using some 192.168 1 dot series, means 192.168 1.1 1.2 something we will have. The same way, let's say they are using there in on-premise, they are using the same series. So 1.1 1.2 1.3. See, it's a different network, it's a different place. Means within Amazon is a different company, they are having their own LAN. Wherein Google is also a different company, we are using own LAN. So you might be having same network in here and same IP address in here, but it is unique within the network. So within the network it is unique, but if you come apart it will not be unique. So the same way in the Google it will be unique, means you can't use the same 1.1 to other 192 so let's say 192.168 1.1 same IP with unique within the network. And but if you come out of, you can, let's say the same IP address we can also given to the in another company or another. One second, someone is raising hands. Okay, you can see here. So within the LAN, it's a unique. So wherein a public IP, it's within the over the internet in the worldwide. So what are the public IP you are using will not be used by anywhere in the world. It will be solely up to you. So wherein if you want to use a public IP address, you need to pay to service provider, means you need to buy from the service provider. Wherein private IP address is free. It's registered over the internet, means it is registered with your company. Is it registered with your organization or with your name? You can register because you're paying for it and you're buying it, so you can register with your name or your company name. Wherein unregistered private IP address is not registered. So we'll see that. So these are all the different differences between the public IP as well as a private IP. You can see if you go to the select some instance, and if you see the details down below, you can see here public IP is mentioned here 52.221, and also here you can see private IP is also mentioned here as 172.31.19.7. so if you're trying to connect, we see the server is in Singapore, so we see private IP address is unique within the LAN and it will be accessible within the LAN. So we'll try to access with the IP address 172.31.19.7. so we'll try to accessing. We see that's a private IP address. Dynamic IP configuration is so you can see the RDP is not at all accessible because it's a private IP address, so we can't able to access using a private IP addresses. This is called public IP address. So Anushri is asking about what is dynamic IP. So how actually dynamically means without manual interaction they are going to assign the IP addresses. So dynamic IP is allocation is solely dependent on AWS. They will do it. So like server administration will do in your network or in your organization, the same way AWS is doing the same thing. So dynamically means automatically assigning the IP addresses. So as you see, we are not able to access within the using IP private IP addresses, but we are the same way we are able to access from the using the public IP. So because public IP is over the internet, you can access, when private IP you cannot access over the internet, but you can access within the LAN. So that's how there is a differences between this private and public IP. So we can see class A has 10.0.0.2 10. We see, right? So these are all the different. These are all the networks. So what is an elastic IP? So So we'll try to see what is Elastic API in the next section. So you might confuse what is public API and what is Elastic API. So Elastic as it's a public API, there's no difference, but AWS has named this as Elastic API. So why they want to name it as this Elastic API, we'll discuss in the next section. So we'll see what is the network and host portions. This is important because you need to understand while creating VPC. We'll see how actually this network portions and host portions. You can see in class here you have one network portion. The first 8 octets, the 8 bits are called the network, and the remaining are the host portions. The class B you have 2 network portions and 2 host portions, and you can see class C is 3 network and 1 host portion. So what is actually network and host portion is, so if you say class A, we have C 1 network and 3 host portions. So wherein this host portion means you can assign these bits to the host. Host means you can say the servers or the desktops, whatever you take an example as desktops or the servers. So wherein host, if you see class B, you can see n.h. So 2 host portions means these bits you can assign it to the hosts, I mean the servers. You see the same things with the C class. We have 3 network portions and you can see only 1 host. So we can see these IP addresses we can actually give it. So I think we'll discuss this network and host portions in a brief way in when we are coming to the VPC, virtual private cloud, where we need to use this class um, uh, network and host portions. So we'll discuss there when we're discussing the VPC. We'll try to see how to actually specify it and how to use it, how to create a network and all. We'll see in the network portions. So as per now, just see that class A has 1 network portion and 3 host portions. Class B is like, so wherever is host is means those bits will able to assign it to your desktops or the servers or the devices you can. So where the host, whereas NN is not able to, you cannot change it. This will be available to the network and you cannot able to assign this octets or the bits to the servers or the desktops. It's like this. And we see network address transfer. We discussed because of NAT still we are surviving with the IPv4 address. So what is NAT means? So network address translation means over the network it translates the address. That's what the network address translation is. Means it maps private IPs to public IP address. It is required because of shortage of IPv4 address as we've seen. So we'll try to see actually what is the mapping means. So we'll try to open, we are not able to access with the private IP, right? So we'll try to use a student 1 dot, so the same with 121. So this is the actual IP, public IP which I have given. We'll try to access. So we'll try to get the password. The password, no, we don't have the password. We'll try to get the password for this machine. Get Windows password. Oh. Oh, password is not available. We'll try to refresh. It will take some time because I think it has been launched just now. But we'll try to see. We'll start this one. Maybe the same password, I think it's used by the other machine as well. We'll try to get this from it and we'll try to decrypt. I think this is the same password which I think so. We'll try to connect using the same password. So administrator. Yes, I think it's the same password for the other machine as well. So you can see here the public IP address is 52.21.25.121 and you can see private IP address is 102.31.19.7. So we open your LAN interface. You can see networking initiations in Windows, and if you click on your local internet connection, if you see the details, if you click on details, like you can see the IP address is 172.13.19.7, but we are connecting with this IP 52.221.255.121. but the system says it's 172.31.19.7, but here the machine says it's 52.222.255.120. So what does this means? It's a NAT concept. Again, AWS is using the same NAT concept. So what they are using is they're mapping this public IP to this private IP. So we are trying to connect on this IP and which having an IP address of here. So we'll try to see in the same my machine as well. We'll try to open the networking session. So we'll try to open, we'll try to see the details, and you can see it says my IP address is 192.168.0.100. so this is the IP. But as I said, LAN is this private IP address. It's a C class private IP addresses, and it will be used in the LAN. Yes, you can use CLI options to get the AWS CLI. You can use, but you need to install that CLI package. Then you can use some CLIs to get the IP address from the instance. You can get it. Yes, it's there. You can do it. Dishad is asking how we can get a public IP from the instance, not from the management console. It says it's possible. We can do that. So we can see that my machine has 192.168.0.100. It's a C class address. And if I open the internet and see, if I'm trying to see what is my IP address, it's case 192.183.83.235.219. It's a B class address, and it's not a, you can see that it's not a private IP address. So it says my IP address is 183B, but when you open my LAN configuration, it says 192.168.0.100, means my private IP is mapped to a public IP address. So it says your public IP address here. So this is called the concept of network address translation. So maps your private IPs to public IPs. So it's called the network addressing. So why actually we need NAT? So we'll try to see a simple example. So before NAT, so what is after NAT? So we'll say we have a user. If he wants to connect to the internet, the thing is he needs a public IP. But we see we have only 4.6 billions in IP addresses in IPv4. But everybody is connecting using tabs or using laptops and using mobile phones. With that means what? You might have a public IP. You should have a public IP. Same happens, sir. You have an organization with 1,000 employees, let's say. It's like 1,000 employees. This is 1,000 systems. Let's say. If he wants to connect to the internet, this is the internet. If you want to connect to the internet, means you need 1,000 public IPs, right? As we discussed, public IPs are not for free, and you have to buy it. If you say if you want, so we'll discuss why NAT we are telling this. We'll discuss why we are telling NAT, because we are going to implement NAT as well. So I'm just telling you. And here you can see public IPs. So you need, if you want to connect to the internet, you need 1,000 public IPs to connect to the internet. But after the NAT, before the NAT, so we see 1,000 employees. If you want to connect, you need 1,000 public IPs. But after NAT, if you have 1,000 employees, let's say, they can connect to the internet using a, let's say, a single public IP. You can use a single public IP to connect to the internet from your organization using 1,000 employees as well. Means, so previously, so it is after NAT, means these guys will have a same IP address called the private IP address. They will have private IP addresses, but it will be mapped to public IP. So they, using that public IP, using this NAT, they are going to connect to the internet and open Google or Facebook or something like that. They will open and use it. So this is all called the NAT concept. So previously, we see if one machine want to connect to internet, you need a one public IP. You need 10 public IPs. But using NAT, using one public IP, around 65,000 members can connect to the internet using a single public IP. That's how the NAT is implemented. So this is called the NAT is. So we are mapping the private IP address to the public. So this is what the IP addressing scheme here. So you might have some, so you might have some doubts about this networking schemes and all. If you have more doubts, just go through the wikis and videos of them, then you can understand. because you need to have some kind of understanding just to understand what is public IP and what is a private IP and what is elastic IP. So we haven't discussed elastic IP, we'll discuss. So you might need to understand. So I think you might have a good understanding. If you're not, you might go through the wikis or videos so that you can understand the what is IP addressing and all this thing if you're still not much able to understand. Okay, we'll see the next topic called the elastic load balancer. So what is actually elastic load balancer? We'll see some introduction. So we can see here elastic load balancing automatically distributes incoming traffic across multiple EC2 instances. So what it means, let's say we have a machine here, this is ALB, and you have, let's say, 4 instances, this 1, this 2 and 3 and 4. So this is how it is connected like this. So it's a load balancer and it's your instances 1, 2, 3, 4. So the same definition, elastic load balancing automatically distributes incoming traffic across multiple EC2 instances. So whatever the traffic is coming, first it will hit, first it comes to the elastic load balancing here, and then it distributed across the instances. So we'll see how it is actually used in a real-time example we see in the coming sections. In this section we'll also implement ELB, so we'll see all these things. So you create a load balancer and register instances with the load balancer in one or more availability zones. Availability zones means, as we know, it's a data centers. So we say, let's say data center 1, data center 2, data center 3. So we have one instance here. So the same way example here, we have mapped to 1, 1, 1. So what it will do, whatever the traffic is coming, it will distribute across your instances. Let's say this data center is down due to some earthquake or tsunami or something, anything like this, some natural disaster happens, strikes, and it has been down. The whole network or power, electricity is gone. So this is down. So whatever the server you might be having in this data center, you might not be able to access the application or the website. What do you have? You might not be able to access. So, but still your data center 2 or data center 3, it's, as we discussed, data centers and availability zones is spread across different geographical locations in a region, means in a country. So the natural disaster can strike at one location but not all the locations. So like this, so you might have one availability zone or the data center which is might be down, but still you have your server running in another availability zone. So in that case, the same example, what it will do, it will stop sending traffic because it's down, but it will try to send the traffic to this instance as well as in this instance, because these are all live. So what it means, so what are the application or the site you have hosted in these three instances, if the one instance or maybe two instances down also, still you will have the access to the other instance, means the application which you have created or the site you have created still will be accessible to the public or the people, even if you have natural disasters or something bad happen also. So that's why you create a load balancer. We will create a load balancer and register instance, means register means attaching the instances here. So we are saying registering instance means attaching instances with the load balancer which we have created on or either one or more availability. So you can create on a single availability zone, you can create multiple instances and attach it, or you can create instances on a different availability zones and attach to the elastic load balancer. And it says load balancer serves a single point of contact for clients. So where the traffic is coming, so it will be a single point of contact for them. So we'll see what is this, and this enables you to increase the availability of application, as we discussed in the previous example. If one availability zone or two availability zone goes down also, still your servers or instances is up and running. So whatever the running servers or instances is there, ALB will try to send the traffic to the running instance, means which is available. So still you can have your application or site will be available, your availability. So it increases your availability of your application or the site. You can add or remove EC2 instances for load balancer without disrupting the overall flow of traffic. So you don't need to disturb the traffic. You just on the fly you can add instances, on the fly you can remove the instances. So that's how we can do it in the ELB, wherein if you want to take an example of creation of AMI, where you need to restart the machine because of the file system integrity. But here it's not like that. You don't need to restart or something like restart a load balancer or restart machines. It's not like this. You can on the fly you can attach and detach. So the same way, if an EC2 instance fails, elastic load balancing automatically reroutes the traffic to the remaining running EC2 instance. As you see the same example in previously, you see if the one instance down in one availability zone, still elastic load balancers will automatically, yes, true. Anushree is asking, is it region level? Yes, it is at region level. Yes. So most of the services in AWS are region specific. Most of the services, only Route 53 and few services were across regions you can available. Only few, one or two services were there. So apart from one, most of all region specific or availability zone specific. It's like this. Next, cloud fund distribution. It's a region specific, but you can create the you can choose the different regions. That's what I do. A few services or region specific, not across regions that can be implemented. So we can see once we came into the particular point or particular application, the particular service, we'll see is it region specific or available domain specific, or it's across region. We'll see all these things. So you can see that it automatically reroutes the traffic to the remaining running instances. If a failed EC2 instance restored, we see example 1 is failed, so the availability zone is goes down, but after some days, 1 to 2 days, the availability zone goes up, means they have restored back the connectivity and all. So what will happen, elastic load back restores the traffic to that instance as well. So if you have stopped the instance, or you have after the disaster you have again started the instance, elastic load balancer will see that okay, this instance came up, and then it will try to start the routing the traffic to that instance as well. Elastic load balance can also serve as the first line of defense against attacks on your network, because elastic load balance, we don't have any access to it. So we're like console access, or like how we are accessing Linux or Windows. So elastic load balancing is solely handled by AWS, so they will take care of all the security and availability of ELBs. So we don't need to, we just relax with it, we just use it. For that, will you pay for whatever we are using, so you don't need to take care of the availability or the attacks and anything in DDoS attacks or anything, or any traffic whatever is coming. So you don't need to take care of anything. AWS will take that headache from you and take care of all the things. You just need to create and use it. That's how the elastic balancing is. So we'll see the features the same way. You can use the operating system and instance type supported by AWS Amazon EC2. So you can configure EC2 instances, whatever we see, what are the EC2 instances are available, you can configure with Elastic Load Balancer. And you can configure the protocols like HTTP, HTTPS, TCP, and SSL. So this protocol you can configure on AWS, sorry, on Elastic Load Balancer. So your application might be running on AT, means HTTP, or secure HTTPS, might be, or maybe some TCP port, a different TCP port, might be any port, or maybe SSL. That's it. So the same way you can configure your load balancer to distribute requests to EC2 instances in multiple availability zones. So you can create multiple instances under multiple availability zones, as we see in the same example. You can configure. So there is no and another thing is, there is no limit on the number of connections that your load balancer can attempt to make with EC2 instances. There is no limit. So the number of connection scales with the number of concurrent request load balancers receives. So there is no restriction in coming and going. So AWS will take care of all these things. So you are getting more, means they will take that load and they will handle the what are the traffic you are getting at the ELB level. So they can do it. We can also configure health checks. We'll configure while creating the ELB, so that if any so we see if the instance is down, here elastic load balancer will stop routing or giving the traffic to the instance. So how actually elastic load balancer will know that a particular instance is down? Means using this health checks. So it will check the health of a particular system or a particular server, try to contact. If it is able to contact, then it will send the traffic. If it is not able to contact, it will stops sending. So once we get the same thing, once the server is up, then elastic load balancer is able to have the proper communication with the instance again. So then try to reroute the traffic because it stopped, because it has been down. So you can also use some end-to-end traffic encryption as well. So you can use an HTTPS and SSL connections. You can also use SSL connection on AWS side. So elastic load balancer as well. So we'll try to create a load balancer. So first we'll try to get this password. We'll have no. Okay. The same password which we are using. Okay, we'll close this one. We'll close this one as well. This one will close. 1 second, Swadesh, I'm unmuting you. Hi, Sudesh. Sudesh, are you able to hear me?
Are you able to hear me now?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you, Sudesh. You can
Yeah,
pose your question.
my question is like how many traffic load balancer can handle? How many
It's
increment?
unlimited. It's
It's
unlimited.
unlimited.
There is no restrict. Yes, there is no restriction.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, okay. So try this. So now, so we'll try to stop this instance as well. Okay, we'll stop because we don't need require, because we have seen already, we have created from this AMI. Okay, we are stopping it. Okay, we'll try to create a launch in instance, a new instance. We'll try to launch a new instance the same way. Okay, we'll try to. Okay, this time we'll try to install a Linux instance. We'll do the same T2 micro. Next, add some storage. And the tag instance will say, okay, Linux web. See. No, there is no. Dilshad is asking, is there any limit to attach instances? There is no limit. We'll select some default security existing security groups instead of creating. In launch and click on launch, you can see, and we'll select Linux and then acknowledge and click on launch. It's going to launch. So we'll try to configure some. So installing it. So we'll try to see how to actually. So we'll take some time to access. Once it is done, okay. Now we have got this. We'll try to access the same public IP. Using this public IP only we can access. So okay, use this IP to connect. So we'll open this putty. This is putty, yes. We'll try to use, and we'll try to use the PPK file from the SSH auth. We'll try to browse. We'll try to browse. Okay, we'll try to browse this Linux ppk file which we have already converted. So we'll try to says okay. We'll try to, we know that. Okay, we'll try to change the colors. So change settings. So use system colors, so that will be good. So you can see. So we'll choose EC2-user is a default user for Amazon Linux instance, and we'll try to go to user. Okay, fine. Now it's a Red Hat based. We'll try to install the package Apache. I'm installing Apache HTTPD, and we'll try to start the service. Okay, it's running, and it says it's running and started. So we'll try to access. This is the IP. So we'll try to access the IP. See, we are not at all opening the page. Means we have installed Apache and we have started Apache, but still we are not able to access. Why? Because we will try to go and see the security group rules. So we'll try to create the see the security group, open in link tab, and we'll try to see the inbound here. So we'll see the inbound rules, or we say there its HTTP is there, but it's sourced from 10.0.0.10 network. So it says 10.0.0.1 means it's a private IP, but I am connecting from internet. So what I need to do, I need to edit, click on edit, add a rule saying that HTTP, click on HTTP, and then from anywhere, then click on save. Then if you try to see, and if you try to access refresh, you can see here the default page for Amazon Linux HTTPD is came in. So we'll try to okay go to them, then we'll try to go to this document route. Okay, so we'll try to download some try to download some HTML sites templates, so that I'm copying this template and try to download in. Oh, sorry, I don't think it will be. No. We need to upload this, so we need to use putty and all FTP. I don't want this, so we'll try to open this slice method. We'll try to open this sites and we'll try to, which one you need? Okay, we'll try to use this one. We'll try to download, copy link address, and we'll try to download this page. wget. I'm here using some Linux stuff here, so if you're no Linux, then you can understand. If you're not familiar with Linux also, that's fine. You can also try to implement the same with the Windows as well in the coming scenario example. I'm just install an Apache service, means a web service, and now I am trying to host a simple website, so that okay, we'll try to move metro. Okay, that was try stop here to here. Okay, now okay, now we have some files, we have copied some this page or this site, so we'll try, we have seen, now we have pasted it, so we'll try to reload this page. So you can see that we have hosted a website, HTML website on our Linux instance, which we have just created or just launched. So we'll try to do the same thing with the same Windows instance as well, because I'm not using this Windows because it's already installed some web service. So I will try to use a Windows instance as well. Okay, we will go with Windows 1, 2012 base, anything. T2 micro again. Add storage, that is fine. Windows, it says web. Excuse me guys. We'll try to use this Windows security group instead of creating a new one, and you can see HTTP is already open from 00. Means 00 means all IPs. You can see review and click on launch, and then click launch. We'll try to use the same Windows key which we are using, and then click launch. And once it is done, then you can go and see it in the view instances tab. You can see the Windows is instances start creating. So what is front end and back end, Arvind? I didn't understand what so front end and back end means. You can also need to attach security group to ELBs as well. We'll see how to do that. So once we start creating ELB, then you can understand how security group, the same security group how we are using for instances, you can also use it for the ELBs as well. We'll try to see. Just be with me, you can understand. So you can see that okay, Windows instance start creating. Okay, it has some IP, but I think it will take some time because to get the IP because it's not yet available. Just now we have created. Okay, so you can see how to create the load balancer. So we have prepared a nice document, so you can go through it, you can understand. Okay, we'll try to see is it possibly scam. No, it's not, it came. It'll take some time. Okay, till this time we'll try to create a load balancer elastic. So in the EC2 page itself, if you come down, you can see the load balancing tab. So under the load balancing, you'll have load balancer. If you click on load balancer, you can go to that load balancer tab. So you can see here that we don't have any load balancer. It says the same thing. AWS are saying that you do not have any load balancer in this region, and says that, as I told you, ELB is also, it's a region specific. So the ELBs which are in this region will not be available on the other region. So it's a region specific. So if you want to create a load balancer, you just click on create load balancer. So you can create, name it, let's say demo web. We are saying some name. So create VPC. We'll discuss this. What is VPC in the next session? So we'll discuss all this. So here, load balancer protocol means, what is this protocol means? It means you can add more protocols like this here. You can see HTTP secure as well. Means in which port you are trying to access this load balancer. So we don't need any HTTPS here for this. So we are just using port 80. Means if you open that load balancer, you need to trying to access over the web. Means or on the browser, if you say elastic load balancer, it should open to the 80 port. So that's why we need a 80 port. Yes, we are holding it. And then in the next session, you can see it says assign security groups. You can say you can select an existing or you can create a new one, but we'll try to go with existing. Okay, we'll try to go with this one because Windows has already HTTP is open. Okay, that's why next click on configure health check. So what is this health check means? We see that in the previous example that elastic load balancer will try to check the health of EC2 instances which were attached to the ELB. So if the EC2 instance is down, means how actually ELB is now using this configure health checks. So you can see ping protocol, either HTTP, TCP, HTTPS, something like this. So and this port number, so on which port it should poll the instances. If you can use HTTP, then what is the default file you should poll with it. So if you try to open this access this file, if you say HTTP or HTTPS, it will have some, or if you say TCP, then we will try to connect with the port TCP. So we'll try to see some example pictorial representation so that you can understand. So let's say this is the ELB. Think of it's an ELB. So you have instances, two instances. So it will trying to connect to check the health check. First, it will try to connect with health check, means whatever the health check we are providing here. So we are saying TCP 80 port, TCP, and the protocol is TCP and the port is 80. So this elastic load balancer will try to connect to this machine on port 80. If it's success, it's able to connect, then it's fine. If it is not able to connect, it will remove this. Means it will not send the traffic again. So the same way it will try to check this machine as well on the port 80. So whatever we mentioned in the health check, it is able to connect, then it's passed, then it will be failed. Let's say both are connected and both are. So let's say whatever the traffic we are coming, means some, let's say if you're saying facebook.com, some maybe google.com you say, or maybe yahoo.com, some you're accessing. Think of your site is hosted on ELB, means hosted on here your servers itself, but you are using a front end elastic load balancer here. So your people or the users come here, access here, and see if the health check is passed, it will try to, so one user come, it will try to send it to this instance, and then another user, second person come, it will try to access to this, then third person come, then it will try to access to this. So like this, let's say fourth person came, I will try to access to this, then we'll try to see a fifth person come, it will try to access through it. So it will try to divert to the instances. At some point of time, your instance is, this instance is down, it will try to check the port 80, but it's not possible, it's not connecting, so it will stop sending this traffic. So this elastic load balancer, whatever the request is coming, it will stop this load balancer sending traffic. So it will stop this forwarding the request to this load balancer, sorry, to the instance, but whatever the users coming, it will try to send it to the port. Excuse me. It trying to sending to the running instance, or which is already passed this security. So let's say if it's say 9, then it will try to send the same thing. So where is coming, so after some time it came back and it will trying to connect to this, then after some time, okay, it's open and it's able to come in and it came back, then it will reroute the traffic, so that if someone comes, it's someone the 10th guy came, and then it will try to access. So it's like this. So how actually elastic load balancer knows that is it your system is up or down, is it running or not, is using this configuring health check. So based on this health check, so we say TCP port and EIT will discuss. Now it's fine, we have said. And what is this advanced details like response down, timed out, health check interval, and threshold D and healthy threshold. So all this will be explained here in the documents itself. So you can see here, yes. So all these things have been explained nicely here. So you can see here as well. See the same thing. Response timeout. First, say this. The response timeout we say. So the amount of time to wait when receiving a response from the health check in second, means I'll try to open this. Okay. Let's say, okay, this is your load balancer, and this is your one instance, and this is your another instance, and this is your okay, this is your third instance. So first, after configuring health check, it try to connect to the instance for checking is it the server, whatever you have configured, whatever you have attached, is it actually properly working or not. One second. No, HTTPS is supported by ELB and AWS. It's not. Anushree is asking, is HTTPS is supported by ELB? HTTPS supported. You can install the HTTP certificates you have on ELB. It will be support. It supports. It supports everything. HTTP and HTTPS everything. So we'll try to check. So it randomly, Dilshad is asking how the traffic distributed. It randomly throws the request whatever it has. So if it is a service in up and running, it will, sorry, EC2 instance is up and running, it try to distribute the load or distribute the traffic, distribute what are the it's like how it knows, how ELB knows it. It's again they AWS is handling it. So yeah, it's like round robin only. So one will be going to one instance and one will be going to another instance. But again, 1 second guys. So after this configuring, you can have your doubts clear. After the configuration, still you have any doubts, you can pose your questions. So once you complete this with configuring it and explaining it, so after the configurations, if you still have doubts, we can have this question and answer session so that you can answer. But first, make a note of your questions, then we can have a question answer session so that we can discuss all the questions. So we'll say in the protocol, in the ping protocol, we say health check. So what is this response timeout means? Time to wait when receiving a response from the health check. So health check means, so it's trying to connect to port TCP. We configure TCP, trying to connect. If it is running, the instance is up and running and the port 80 is running and listening. If you try to get the response, positive response means it's working. Let's say then, so how much time it should wait for this response from an EC2 instance? It's called the response timeout. So from 2 seconds to 60 seconds. Honestly, I think we can see while configuring the ELB, you can use whatever the, if your app want to use HTTP, you can use HTTP and elastic load balancer. Or if you want to use only HTTPS, you can configure HTTPS and ELB. It's up to you. You want to configure HTTPS or HTTP, or you want to configure as a both, like HTTP plus HTTPS. You can configure both. You can configure both on load balancer as well as in the instances. Okay, we can see response timeout means the time to wait a response from the health check, means from the instance. We can see from the instance, we trying to connect 80 port, what the port we have mentioned in. So trying to see, wait for the response. So we'll wait for the, everything is in seconds here. So how we can, if you want more, we can also give from 2 to 60 seconds, as we say that. Okay, oh sorry, let's we'll try to see here. Okay, okay, we'll try to see. We can mention, we can see from here. Okay, we'll try to see from that. We can from 2 seconds to 60 seconds, we can mention anything here, the response time. And next thing is health check interval. So we see that okay, we'll see that we have 3 instances. It's working 3 instances, so that it's trying to sending the traffic to the 3 instances. Let's say after some point this machine has down. So how actually ALB knows is with this interval, it will try to see amount of time between health checks. You can see from 5 seconds to 30 seconds, means from 50 seconds to 300 seconds means 5 minutes. So what is let's say you configure for 60 seconds, means every 1 minute it will, the load balancer will try to connect to this instance. It will get a response. If it is get a response, means it's a service up and running. Yes, after 3 hours, let's say after 3 hours, this system got down for some reason. We don't know what the reason is. Elastic load balancer will try to again after 3 hours 1 minute, it will try to connect it, but it didn't get a response. So then what it will do, it will try to wait for this response timeout. Let's wait for the response from that instance. If it get, it's fine. If it's not get, what it will do, elastic load balancer will stop sending traffic or the packets to this instance, then it will try to send it to the only this remaining instances. So this is what they call the health check interval, means how much time it will to wait between health checks. So if you say 30 seconds and 10 seconds, means every time it try to connect to the instances. But if you say like 3 minutes or 5 minutes, right? So every 5 minutes or 3 minutes it's trying to check the in situ instances. If it is get the response, means it can be able to send the traffic service and distribute the load. That's called the health check interval. And check unhealthy threshold. So what does this means? It says unhealthy. You can see that by seeing the name itself, you can see that unhealthy. So number of consecutive health check failures before declaring EC2 instance unhealthy. So you can check how many times you can see, might be 10, 2, but minimum is 2. So what this means is, now we see the same. We see let's say every 3 minutes we have health check interview. We are specified as health check interviews every 3 minutes, means 180 seconds. So every 3 minutes it's trying to connect. So after some time it's trying to connect and it's down, it's not able to. Then if on a once, if it is down, then it will not, LB will not directly think that okay, I didn't get any response, so it's not like directly I can say that this instance is down. It's not like that. So it will wait for another 3 minutes, and second time it's trying to connect it. So if at the same time the server came up and a response given back to the AWS, then the EC2 instance is live and is in running state. So you'll be think that okay, this is running, so it can be able to send the traffic to it. But at the second attempt also it's failed, let's say. So then we can specify here that how many times it needs to try to poll and try to see the unhealthy threshold, means the unhealthy response from. So let's say if we say 2 means it will try to poll from two times in a 30 let's say 3 minutes. So whatever we mentioned in the healthy threshold value. So after 6 minutes if we didn't get, means it meant as stop to troughing this, stop sending to this instance the traffic. So how many times it needs to check. So if you want to select from 2 to 10, if you say 8 means it will try to check for the 8 times, it will check. So after the 8 times, if it is still not getting, then it will make it as a unhealthy. So we can have a see that healthy threshold. So the number of consecutive health check successes before declaring an EC2 instance healthy. So what we are discussing is declaring unhealthy, means trying to connecting but not getting, means so the instance is unhealthy. So a elastic load balancer will not send the traffic or the route the traffic to the instance. So we are till now we are discussing about unhealthy. Let's say the server is down for 1 hour. Then after the 1 hour we have started, or after the 1 hour the availability zone came up. So then but still the same ALB in the behind trying to, we see that amount of time between health checks, it trying to connect to the this instance during this 1 hour also, but it will fail to connect, so it will maintain this unhealthy. So after 1 hour it again try to connect to the interval. So at that time it says okay, it came back and get the response from positive response saying that I'm back. So what the LB will try to think, okay, the instance is coming, so that I can now, instead of sharing the traffic or distributing the load to these instances, now this also came up, so I can also send the traffic to this instance as well. So that we can check here the number of consecutive health checks. So it's not only once, so you can check how many health checks you want. So you can mention from 2 to 10, the same way you can mention from 2 to check. So minimum is 2 means if you say positive response from once, then it will not think directly, but it will again try to check after 3 minutes or after 5 minutes. So whatever the interval you have specified, then it will try to check, and then if you got the response, so if we say 2, it will try to check 2 times. If we say 5, it will try to check 5 times. So once it got 5 times a positive response, then ELB will declare as okay, this running instance is working properly fine. Then we'll try to reroute the traffic to the ELB. All these settings came in. So you can select this 5. Okay, so I'm declaring minimum by with as we don't have much time, so that's why I'm just adding here. So next, add EC2 instances. So in this section, so we can see that these are all the running instances we have. So okay, we'll now don't add anything here, so we'll just go to the instances tab. So now we'll try to see Windows. We'll try to get the password. Yeah, it's came. Now we'll try to select the Windows key, yes, which we are using for this Windows instances. Okay, we'll try to configure, copy it, try to close, and we'll try to access. So the IP is, you can see from here, like 5277. So you can hear from v2.77.250.224. we try to open, we'll say username is administrator. Okay, we'll try to access. It takes some time to load. Okay, you see. It's creating, launching. So while launching, we can go through here and we can add some instances also, this tab. So we can launch, let's say, a table list, all of your instances. So these are all the list of instances we have. We can select any. So then click on next to add tags, and then you can have, okay, name, value is ELB, something like this. Then click on review and create. So you can click create. Must be less than the interval, so we made some mistake. So we'll try to create again. Okay, so but here we have launched. We'll try to go to the server manager. Okay, we'll try to add roles because we are adding. So okay, one second, it's collecting the information from data. Okay, still trying to get it. So we'll try to again configure. I think we made some mistake. This demo exercise. We'll say some security group. Sure, professor will say that the health threshold also will say, okay, we'll say 30 seconds only. We'll try to use this Windows in Linux instance. Try to put the name, key value pair. So we'll discuss what is this. Okay, we can best name, some adding some tags. So it says successfully created load balancer. You can count down. Okay, under the load balancer page, you can see that load balancer has been created, and you can see the DNS name of it. So if you try to open link, it says server not found. Why? Then we'll try to see security, and we'll try to see the security group. Okay, it says inbound 80 port is open. So here that 80 port is open, but still we are not getting. Why? Because we'll see, come here and we'll go to the instances, and it says, see, out of service, means we have just now added an instance. So it's trying to check that instance, is it actually properly working, or it's trying to pull TCP 80 port. If it is get the response, then it will make us in service. Then it will try to route the traffic whatever we are getting. So we just now configured, we just now added, so it will take some time to come into the in service. So while it come to the in service, we'll go to Windows instance. Okay, so we'll try to cancel first. We'll try to add some roles here. So what we are doing is we are just installing IIS servers. means web server. Okay, what is that? Yeah, web server. Okay, add feature. Okay, then click on next, click on next, click on next, and then install. So it will trying to install the IIS, means the web service or web server which is available in Windows. We'll see what is connection training and all. Okay, if you can open to the document, you can see here you'll have all the options which is. So, one second. Varun, you can install any yes ELB, one ELB for free tier is available. Vivek, you can create one ELB. It is available. So someone is asking about the, one second, try to see, I forgot to tell you. So we'll try to see some test. So we'll try to see with the example itself so you can understand. Security configure, we'll go with okay, everything. So like it's free. Add instances. You can see enable two options I forgot to tell you is, one is cross zone load balancing, means it will having, as you told, we will configure load balancing, means instances which are available in different availability zone. If you say enable, means it can have route the traffic to the different availability zones where your instances are residing for the squad. Then we have seen that enable connection training. So the you can see the description here, the number of seconds to allow existing traffic to continue flowing, means what is this means. Let's say ELB is working, you have three instances, as the same example, one instance got down, but on a within a fraction of second, ELB will not make sure that the ELB the instance is down or something. It will wait the what are the configuration we have done. So it will try to check within the configuration, it will try to connect to the port, it will try to check with LT threshold, and it will try to wait the time. So till that time, can this ELB able to forward the request to the EC2 instance which is currently down. That's called the enable connection draining. So the number of seconds to allow existing traffic to continue flowing. So the what are the traffic it's already existing, it try to, so while checking this LT of the instance or unLT of the instance, so it's whatever the traffic is already existing, it will try to flow it. So you can use normally a less than, because 300 seconds is like 5 minutes. So that connect still the server is down, but the traffic or the data or the packets or the users who are trying to connect it, they may face some issues. So we'll try to make it some 50 or 60, something like that, something kind of a thing where you will not have much users to get affected. So they will be redirected anyway, so after a few minutes or few seconds or a few seconds. But this is how actually the number of seconds whatever we mentioning here to allow existing traffic, means which is already existing in that means the traffic is already flowing between the instance, between load balancer, means between the instance and between the load balancer. I think we'll try to, so a user is here and a user is here and a user is here, and both are trying to connect to some application which is configured ELB, and we have one instance here and one instance here and one instance here. So this guy came accessed application, the application is configured under ELB, so this guy went to here, and the same guy, another guy came here and accessed application, this guy went to here, and another guy came in and another guy accessed and it went to this. So now this guy is getting the access from this instance, application from this instance. Let's say this instance is down for some time, so whatever the request he has already requested will be existing, it will continue flowing because ELB is not yet configured or saying that I removed this instance from ELB configuration. So this is where the coming to the picture saying that connection draining, so number of seconds to allow existing traffic to continue flowing, but still the instance is down. So what are the existing traffic we are saying, not the a new guy, it's not a new user can come in and access. So he will either get the request getting forwarded to the healthy instances, like might be here or might be here, might be here or might be here, but not might be not will not be here because it's a already unhealthy and it's in down. So the existing traffic will try to flow for some time. As we say, it's only 300 seconds, but we can try to minimize, might be 50 seconds or might be 30 seconds, something like that. You can mention it. So what are the minimum, so that the existing traffic will not get to affected more time. So it will try to see. So within the time, within 30 seconds, it's not getting the response from it, then the traffic will be rerouted to the another running instances. So this is called the connection draining. So if your instance is failing, then this will come into the picture, otherwise it will not be coming to the picture. So this is what the connection draining is. Good question, Dilsha, because I forgot to tell you. So we can see, I think, yeah, feature installation has been succeeded. You can see that. Okay, we can close and we'll try to open. Okay, Windows, we'll try to open the same page, this public IP, because we have installed some web service here. We can see that basic IIS web page has been displayed. So we'll try to, so free templates. So we have used some templates, so we'll use some other templates. We'll use this template.co and try to download. Okay, we'll choose this one. We'll try to download. So we're downloading it. Okay, once we completed downloading, okay, we completed downloading, showing folder, and we can copy it, and then we'll go to this and we'll paste it here first. So I'm copying it and pasting here. So in the same like where.html in Linux, the document root, here also there will be a document root called, under init pub you will have www root. The is start page is already there, but we didn't have this one, so we need to copy here, it's a zip file, we need to extract here. Okay, extract all. Okay, extract in the folder. Okay, it has been extracted, but we'll try to, okay, and we'll try to paste the contents of it. So we'll try to delete the folder which you have created, and we'll try to delete this zip file as well. So now we have uploaded some HTML file on this server, on the web server on ISF. So we'll try to open. You can see some site is coming with the HTML page, HTML code which we have dumped on it. So we can see the site is coming. So you can see the service is properly working. This is how we can normally host. So it's again it's a Linux and Windows kind of a setup. Okay, we'll try to go to our load balancing and see. Okay, you can see here it came the end service, means has been. So when we open this, in previously it says connection not now. Okay, so again same connection. Once again I'll try to see what's wrong with it. HTTP is there. So we'll try to see the instance of instances. Linux web. Okay, this is with the it's coming, so it's not an issue with. Health check, okay. Monitoring, okay. Okay. I'll try to see what's wrong with it. Column. Let's test. Sure, guys. I think some guys are expecting some timeout issues. Sure, guys. We'll see. So now what we have did is just we have created a load balancer with a single instance. So in tomorrow's class, we'll try to create with the two instances. So that what we'll try to make one instance down, and we'll see still are we able to get this page or not. So we have seen we are getting some websites. So we'll use some 2 or 3 instances. So by using the 2 instances, we'll make it 1 or 2 down, and we can still able to see are we able to see this site or not. We are going to see it in the next class. We'll continue the next class. So you guys have any questions, you can post now. And also one more thing, guys. So for tomorrow's session, you guys need to implement all these things, and I will give you some tasks tomorrow. So what to need to configure and what to need to test, and after all the configurations, you need to send me the screenshots with what are the configuration you have done. So I'll provide you the email ID, so where you need to send your all the configurations. So in tomorrow's class, I will give you some tasks. So from tomorrow onwards, you need to do some work on AWS. Sure, guys. One second, Ahmad. The documents, whatever is already there, Varun, the documents is already there. You can directly go and check it. One second, Dilshad, I'm unmuting you. Yeah, Dilshad. Hello? Dilshad, you there? Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I'm able to hear you, Dilshad. Just tell me.
Okay. What if I want to configure two health check, like one is ping and second is HTTP check? Will that be possible?
No. Only one check you can do it. It's not two. Either I can check with ping or I can check with HTTP. Anything you want.
Okay. And okay. How many security group can be attached to the one instance?
So it's a limit is there. So the limit is 50 security groups and 200 roles per max per instance. Okay. So
50
but
security group and 250
yes, within the
rows.
security groups you can 200 roles, but no one will use more than 5 or more than 3 or something. So what are the rules you need? You can put it in the same security group and you can do it.
Okay. What is the grace time before releasing your spot instances?
Spot instances.
Yeah.
No, there
Like
is no grace period. There is no
like
grace
I
period.
let's suppose I have bid two instances on $5, and somebody has come up in next 2 minutes with $6. So how much time I have to save data or anything like that?
No, if you're thinking about saving data and all, you cannot. That's a mandatory. You should not use spot instances. If you're thinking about saving data and all, in that case,
So any
you can
prior
either go.
configuration?
Pardon?
Any
No, no,
intimation like the,
there is no intimation. Prior intimation will be provided from AWS. So if some guy came and he wants to do it, he wants to pay more than you, then they will remove from you. There is no prior intimation. So that's why if you want to store any data on the instances and all, in that case you will not use spot instances. But wherein you use instances only, you don't store the data, but you use some application where it needs to execute on instances or servers. Like there, you can use spot instances, but not on saving data and all,
if
because you don't know
some
when.
application is running and it's about to any process is about to complete. So just want to know any grace period, any default time
No,
that.
no, 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 no. There is no grace period and all. It will directly terminate.
Okay. Uh, so how can I share EC2 instances with multiple users?
Sharing instance. So once you have created, if you want to give the access, then if it is Linux, you go with creating users on Linux. If it is Windows, the same way you will create some users on Windows and give the access. It's up to the OS, whatever you are create. It's up to the operating system level. It's not at the AWS level, but you can give access to AWS console, management console, using service called IAM, but not to the instance. Again,
I
it's
want
like
to
this.
just share EC2 instances. Like I want to create, like let's suppose on OS front, like I created multiple user, like there are some dev user, some quality user. So
No,
how
that's right.
can they get access? I need to share the key as well.
No, no, no. So you don't need to share the key. If you are thinking a third-party user something like that, what you need to do is you can create a username and password instead of username and key authentication. You create a username and password, and then you'll give this IP address to the user who actually needs it. Then once they have done their work, then you can delete the user. That's how it is.
Okay. So I have to create a user first, then they will be able to log in.
Yes, 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 yes,
No
true.
need to share this
No, no,
security
there is
key,
no
right?
need to share. No need to share it. The key file.
Okay, you just like in the last classes you mentioned no upfront, partial upfront, or full up
Yeah,
and
full
full
upfront
upfront.
for only for
So
spot instances and reserved instances.
no upfront. How is the billing calculated? There is no like pre. There is no
Yeah, yeah,
investment.
yeah. Yes, yes. There is no investment, right? So how actually on-demand instances are pricing, right? When you launch your instance, you don't need to pay anything to AWS, right? So how many hours you used, they will charge based on the hourly rate. The same way for no upfront as well. So you'll start your instance with zero, but once you've used for 10 hours means they will charge for the 10 hours based on the charge.
So is it like on demand?
No, no, it's not like on demand again. See, we have three options. So
Hmm.
it's like if you use on demand, let's think like 1 hour for $1. Wherein if you reserved for, you'd get maybe 50 cents per an hour, something like this.
Hmm.
So if you use no upfront means you might not, it will not be, might be like 50 cents. It might be some more than that because you are not paying anything prior. So it might be like 55 cents, something like that.
In all these option instances are reserved, right?
Yes, yes, all reserved. Yes, true.
And the billing and amount are different according to the category.
Yes, 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 true.
Okay. And last one is root device and block device.
Root device and block device. Where is that?
Like
Block
when we
device
launch.
itself.
Mhm.
Here you're thinking about root device and block devices. That's what are we are launch while launching.
Yeah, you can see root device and block devices. So I have
One
confusion. Root
second, one
device like
second.
that partition contains OS, right? OS information.
Yes, yes. Root device means the like C drive in Windows, root slash flash root in Linux. So you can say right. We'll discuss this ABS and all in the next session. So what is devices and how, I mean what is the storage type and all. will coming in few sessions. In the next sessions, we'll see what are
Okay.
those.
If you if you can have a look on the instances on the instance dashboard,
Okay,
you see
on
a
the install.
virtualization type on the where we can launch the instance by selecting.
Yeah, you can use either para-virtualization or so. These are as I told you, right? We discussed the types of virtualizations. We have para-virtualization and so if you want that kind of virtualization kind of a concept you are looking at, then you can use that. But it's up to you again. So they will, as I told you, AWS will give you some ample of options. So which you want to use, it's up to you. If you want to use this kind of virtualization, means para-virtualization is kind of a better virtualization in terms of operating system because it will be some faster than normal full virtualization. So if you want to tend to some need some increasing in performance, then you might go with the para-virtualization instances. It's like this.
So it's provided by Amazon. Is there any
Yes,
possibility to
yes.
choose the
No,
virtualization as well?
no,
Like
no, 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 no. There is no.
it
There is no
will
possibility.
always mention on the instances which we are
Yes,
going
yes, it
to.
will be always mentioned which this AMI is contained either para-virtualization or full virtualization, something like that it mentioned. So you want to have para-virtualization, then you need to select the instance which have para-virtualization, or you want full virtualization, you can select it.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
That's all.
okay. Thank you, Dilshad. Hi, Swadesh. I'm actually speaking with Dilshad, so I didn't uh, answer your query, so I'm just unmuting you. Yes, Swadesh. Are you able to hear me now? Swadesh, you there? Oh, Swadesh. 1 second, Vishal, I'm unmuting you. Okay. Yes, Vishal, go ahead.
I have only one doubt. See,
Okay.
whenever we create a instance, EC2 instance, we
Okay.
can use, we have limitation of CPUs which we can use and the memory which we can use. Is there any limitation of the network which we can use? For example, suppose I create a web server. I'll be given
Okay.
a free tier, micro tier. I will be giving one CPU, one processor. But
Okay.
network is also another concept which I will be downloading and uploading. So is there any limit on the network usage?
Yes. If you go to this dashboard, if you select something, you can see under the page itself. It can see, like you can see here, network performance here. You can see it. Are you able to see here? Network
Yes, yes.
performance, low to moderate. So if you go to some high-end instances where you can see moderate, you can see high, you can see 10 gigabytes. So it's like they'll give you some ample of options. You need to select from here. So how much network speed you want, so it's up to you. You can select from here. There's also different types
Okay.
of available in network performance as well. Understood?
Only my question was amount of data I can download or upload to the server. Suppose I create a
No,
web
no, no,
server.
no, 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 no. There is no limit on it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, you're welcome, Vishal. Any doubts? Any questions, guys? 1 second, Arvind. Uh, how AD concept is maintained? Is it instance level or availability zone or about existing use? So it's same like when you install a Windows instance, honestly, you need to do it. What you need to do, you need to create an active directory. So it's up to the operating system level. You want to configure IAS on Windows, or you want to configure AD on Windows, or what service you want to create. It's up to the operating system level. And also there is AD concept is available in AWS but not related to instance. That is another where you can configure AD with IAM so that your Active Directory users can directly log into AWS. So there is another user there. But if you want to configure Active Directory an instance, it's up to operating system level, not to availability zone or not to AWS account. It's up to instance level. Yes, true. Instance level itself. 1 second, Arvind, I'm unmuting you. Sorry, Varun. I think you, right? Hi Arvind.
Satish,
Arvind, are you able
I,
to hear me?
yeah,
Yes, Arvind. Tell me.
yes. Mhm. At the time when we created that load balancer, and after load
Okay.
balancer, we configure that security group. So every time whenever traffic will come, first it will come to load balancer, then it will go to security group, then it will get
Yes.
filtered, then it will go to instance, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Uh, so my question was, the can we configure security group on the front end? That means, the traffic should come first on that security group part. It will filter, then it will go to load balancer. Is it possible?
Yes. Yes. Is it true? Because if you go through here, yeah, load balancer, you can have under the security. You can see that some SG hyphen this. So it's a security group which is allocated to the load balancer. So here you can uh, specify your load. So what to open and what to not open. So you can specify. So and also you can configure like different security group for load balancer as well as different security group for your instances. You can also do that as well.
No, but in this scenario, the traffic first will go on the load balancer. Then it will go to security group. No?
No, no, no. It's not like this. See, first the request will come to the load balancer, but if the request wants to come to the load balancer will need to accept the traffic. So where will accept or reject will come into the security group. The first after crossing the security group, let's say we have created a load balancer and we have opened 80 but we haven't opened 443 means HTTPS. If someone trying to connect to the 443 means security group is not allowing, so it will not go to the ELB. It's like this. So means in terms of view, I can say it is first security group, the same way how actually instance is working. First, the request will go to the security group. Then after passing the security group only, then it will go to the ELB. It's how it is like this. So actually here you can see, I will try to make it more simpler. So here, you can see here, it's a security group. Let's say it's a security group and it's a ELB here. It's a ELB security group, and let's say here instances, and here also you will have a security group for which is related to your instance security group. So this is the ELB security group. So first it will come through the security group. Here it will accept it, then it will go. Here if it is not accepted, then it will not go. Like this. Then once it is done, then here also it will go through the security group and it will go to the instances here. The same way. Understood?
Yeah, Satish, I understood this one, but I read out somewhere, on the AWS side, like through ELB, it is not possible to, like traffic will go first on the load balancer, then it will go to security group, then it will go to instance. But whenever we will apply about the VPC part, then it is, we can implement kind of things that the traffic will come first security group, then ELB, or then, to instance. So what that means?
I didn't understand. Can you explain again once again?
Give me a sec. I just think.
One second. Once again, I'm seeing the query. Can I configure a security group for the front end of Elastic Load Balancer? So front end means what in terms of you're talking about? Means before coming to the Elastic Load Balancer, we need to pass through, right? That's what you're telling.
Yeah,
The same
but
thing I'm explaining here, right?
why it is saying that it is possible through VPC only?
No, VP. So whatever the instances or whatever the uh, Elastic Load Balancers we are creating, it's mandatorily should be under VPC only. There is no other concept. Previously, when AWS launched, there is another concept called EC2 Classic. There is another concept called EC2 Classic, but now EC2 Classic has been removed, so there is no EC2 Classic. It's all VPC only. So, but who are actually using that EC2 Classic from the years where they have started AWS, they can be accessible. But whoever is actually using recently used, they will not be able to access EC2. So everything is under VPC only. Your instances, your storage, your database, your ALB, everything is under VPC only. There is no another concept. Everything is under VPC.
So after ELB, whenever traffic will come, first it will go to security, then ELB, right?
Yeah. See, there is here we have two security groups here. We are talking about ELB security group 1 here, and we are talking about security group at the instance level. So,
yeah.
Instance level security group is there, as well as the ELB level security group is also there. So, if you want to connect to any traffic comes to ELB, right? First, it should go through the security group, then it will go to ELB. Then, once it is reached on ELB, then it will try to connect to the instances, right? So before trying to connect to the instances, it will again try to check it in the security group at the instance level. Then after that, it will go to the instance, like this.
Okay. My second question is for the in the ELB for ping protocol, there are 4 options: HTTP,
Okay.
HTTPS, and
SSL.
TCP,
Yes.
SSL.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So as Dilshad asked question, like can we use 2 ping protocols? So suppose if I need HTTP plus HTTPS
No.
for
No.
contact, then how
No.
I
No.
can
No.
do it?
No. 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 Ping protocol might be one. It will not be used to. It's only one. Either you can use HTTP or you can use HTTPS, or you can use TCP or you
So
can
how
use
we
SSL.
can
Any.
decide that which one is
It's up to
okay?
you actually. How you can decide means, if you want to try to ping protocols on 80 port or 443 port, it's up to you. Or you don't want any, or traffic to be on Apache or something like that. Might be you'll use some TCP, or you might be using some 53, some any protocol, any port number, right? So which the server is able to open the connection, accept the connection, something like that. So it's up to us actually. It's an option. So you want to go with HTTP or HTTPS, it's like this. So it's a given option for you. So it's up to you to decide which you want to use.
Okay. Okay. And in AMI, when we were doing AMI, there is an option kind of bundle instance. What is that?
Bundle instance. Where you have seen?
Just click on the AMI action.
Okay. I'm in the MI. Okay.
Okay,
Actions.
action. Then somewhere like I think check.
No, I have seen any bundle instance.
No, it is
Bundle option in there.
there is like one instance, an instance,
Okay.
an instance. Then try
Okay.
to go for AMI, select, then action,
Okay. Click on action. Okay.
actions.
Okay. Click on
So we were
actions. Is
when we were trying to convert it in AMI, then
okay.
image, then there is in the create AMI, then it is bundle. So what is it?
It's instant store AMI. It says it's not the actual EMI. Sorry, EBS based EMI. So what you need to do, bundle means, so it's like of a bunch. Like you can bundle means you can type together your root volume, your application, like this. So when you discuss on instance store, you can understand, because instance store is a different topic where it's not like what is EBS is. When you stop your instant, when you restart your instant also, your data will be there. That is a normal behavior. But if you there is another option called instance store AMI, instance store volumes. This calls what it means: when you stop your instance, your data will be gone.
Mm-hmm.
So what it means, when you are stopping it, what are the data is there in your instance, it will be gone. So if you are using instance store volumes or instance store, so if you stop it, right, the data will go. So at that time, what it will do is, you will bundle the data with the AMI, so that, while launching instance, it will take the data from that bundle, and it will store it in the AMI. So that when you stop your instance, your data will be gone. So if you are using instance store volumes or instance store, so if you stop it, right, the data will go. So at that time, what it will do is, you will bundle the data with the AMI, so that while launching instance, it will take the data from that bundle So it's a combination of your files and data, and then take the files and copy it to your machine. It's like this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, then. Yeah. Okay, guys. We have enough questions, it seems. So then, meet you tomorrow. Bye for today. Before creating any image AMI, one second, understand. No, it's not like this. So that's what I'm telling you. These are two different concepts: bundling AMI and creating AMI. So bundling will come when your instance is in under instance store. So means you have your system or server which having some hard disk, right? So the storing that hard disk, you have two options: one ABS and one instance store. So there is two different types in your hard disk types, which is attaching to your instance. So if you are using EBS, you don't need to bundle, but if you are using instance store hard disk for your instance, then you will bundle it. That's how it is. Normally, no one will use this instance store because when you stop instance, your data will gone. So that's why. But they are giving an option. If you want to use like this, they can use it. It's like this. Chalo guys, happy weekend. Bye for the day.